In this video, I'm going to show you how to optimize a graphic from within Dreamweaver. Now, I could use another program like Photoshop or Fireworks, but it's really more convenient to be working in one program only. So what you see here is a picture of a dog that I've inserted into my page and selected. And this is quite a large picture, both in terms of its file size, it's a couple hundred kilobytes, and in terms of its dimensions. And what we're going to try to do is to reduce both its dimensions and its file size, especially its file size, so that it's going to be very convenient for our end users to download. With the graphic selected, I'm going to come down to the Property Inspector, and I'm going to click on Edit Image Settings. And this is going to present my image and give me some information about it. Now, one of the other things it's going to be able to do is let me compare what I'm working on to my original, or in fact any couple of versions. So if I click this double-paged icon right there, I can see that my graphic is now being displayed in both panes. It's the same graphic, and as you'll see here, its dimensions are the same. That is, it's a JPEG. The quality is 89%, and beneath it you can see that it's 192 approximately kilobytes large in terms of its file size. So when I am starting to work, I'll just click in one of these just to make sure that this is the only version that is going to be affected. And I can see that for format, I have in the drop-down menu several choices. Now this photograph is in a JPEG format, and that's the one most commonly used when cameras take pictures. It's very, very good for rendering continuous tones like photographs. But there are some other possibilities. The GIF, for example, is very, very good when I have something like line art or posters. Relatively few colors, no continuous tone. PNGs come in three flavors, 8, 24, and 32, and that refers to the bit depth. And the larger the bit depth, the larger the image is going to require. You can see if I go to PNG 24, it's going to go up almost to 855 megs. So I'm going to go back to my JPEG, and I'm going to start making adjustments. I'm going to start trading off between quality and file size. And right now it's set, the quality is set at 89% for this top pane. I'll just drop that down. Let's bring it down to about 70%. And right away, you can see that the file size has dropped substantially to 59 from the original of about 192. And when we move one pane, the other moves in tandem, and we can see we really haven't lost very much quality. In fact, it's kind of hard to say that we've lost any quality by dropping down our percentage of quality. So we can try this even a little bit more. And so let's bring it down to about 60%. And now you can see we're getting quite a ways down there. We went from 192 to 44K. And again, there's not really very much to choose between the two images. The quality is very, very good. So let's take it down one more level to about 50%. And again, we have very, very similar quality. Now, if we go down dramatically, in this case, I'm going to drop it down to, let's say, 20%, approximately. And the quality now is beginning to really deteriorate. I've lowered the file size to about 12.5, but the quality is really suffering. So I want to go back up, and let's bring it up to that 50%. Now that picture is still rather large for our web, but if we look over in the File tab, you can see that it's also, in terms of its dimensions, very, very large. It's 744 pixels by 798. That's a big picture, and that's more than we really need on a website, unless this is the only thing that we're showing on this particular page. But if your web pages are typical, there'll be some other stuff on the page besides a single photograph. So let's bring this size, that is the width and the height, down to something, let's say, like 500 pixels. Now I could have used the scale and just dropped it by a percentage, but I'm setting the pixels off the width. And because I have this constrain checkbox selected, when I come down, that number also changes in proportion to the width. So the final size of it retains the aspect ratio of the original. And you can also see that I've got my file size down to something like 16 or 17K, which is really quite acceptable. And when I say OK, Dreamweaver puts in the new version of the graphic that I was optimizing. Now, the same principle is at work if I'm using a GIF or a ping. The difference is, rather than changing the quality of the image, I'm going to change the number of colors. I can continue to change the width and the height, just as I've done with the JPEG. So the principles are the same. The technique is slightly different. To repeat, with the JPEG, you reduce the quality, and with a GIF or a ping, you reduce the number of colors.